as no surprise to anyone, I am a very big fan of a very niche genre of game called... Well, I wouldn't say it's called. It's not. It's kind of more of my own take on it. It's called the Puzzle Cohabitation game. All right? And what that is living and puzzling coexistingly, if that makes sense to anyone. If it doesn't, then Habitat is actually a really, really good example of such a type of game. It is a cohabitation type puzzle game where you have to balance the people's needs versus... No, just the people's needs. I mean, what could go wrong with just balancing all of what humanity needs and them taking everything that they can? Nothing goes wrong in this game. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Everything's fine. Everything's just fine. So this game is actually relatively straightforward in its mechanics. This is a tile placement game. You have 4 types of tiles, and what you do and how you place them in certain places is how you get score. How you get score is where things are actually kind of fun. You get score by population, best harvest, survivability, stuff like that. And to do that, you need to balance each year. So, to first start off, we have some people. They're monkey people-ish things. You know, whatever. And in order to keep them alive, you need to meet the requirements of that year. So right now, we need food and housing. We have 0 of 2 food and 0 of 2 housing. To get food, we already start off with 3. So we click on that tile and we place it on the board. Now, if you've noticed, there are numbers on each individual tile. That represents, for growth purposes of harvesting, how much you're going to yield. So if we place this on, we'll say, this 3 right here, we're going to get 3 food. That covers our, living expenses for the time being. Plus, we have overture, or we overstock, basically, and we take that overstock and bank it as a tile. So, when the year rolls around, we will get back our 1 grain that we planted, plus we keep our people nice and healthy and safe. Houses, a little bit different. You have to build them. So first, you have to click on a tree, and you get a tree. And you get a house, plus you get some seeds. We need 2 trees, so we're going to cut down 2 trees. Cutting down trees, though, affects the land around it, hence why now places have 1s where the trees used to be. Also, like grains and whatnot, the wheat also has taken up some resources around it. So if we plant, say, another grain right here, it's going to turn it to 1, but also counteract the 3 that we've already placed back down to something else also. So you shouldn't necessarily plant wheat next to wheat. This is more of a diagonal type kind of game. So, you know what, for future reference, I'm going to actually place another 3 wheat there, gain ourselves back a good amount, actually gain a positive yield from our 3 to a 5 next year and whatnot. We also wanted to place our houses. Now, houses right now aren't important of placement, but you should keep an eye on things. All right, I'm going to put a house here. Guy moves in automatically. I'm also going to put a house here. Yay! Everyone's happy. So we've met our requirements for this year. We should also plant a couple trees, because trees take actually a couple turns to grow. Now that we've made our people happy and we met our requirements for the year, we press the sun. It looks more like a moon, but okay, it's a sun. And that's the end of the year. That is your round. Things happen. wheat gets harvested, we get that stuff back, trees grow, and we have some wildlife that forms from the trees. Now, these are, by and large, they look like bears, but they're actually pigs. They're boars, more specifically. And boars are interesting. If we get around to, showing, you'll see why. But right now, do the same thing. We've got 2 people living. We need food. I'm going to cut down this tree right here. We're going to place that right there. For now, that's a pretty solid turn. I'm gonna leave it there for now. Because here's the thing. We got to balance our resource yield. Because as you see, we'll talk about that in a sec. As you see, the land needs time to regain its fervor. Fervor, is that the word I'm thinking of? Luster, fervor, natural oomph that the world gets. So you can spam wheat all over the place, but that's not a good idea. What we will do is we're going to put some wheat there. We'll get 3, and we'll get 3 again diagonals. Best tip I can give for this game: you plant wheat in diagonals. But wheat isn't the only resource you can harvest that is food related. Here is where things actually get kind of cool, because you can also hunt boars. But you can only do that if they are adjacent to a house, right? So this boar right here, boom, +1 food. Yay! And that counteracts the wheat that we're going to get. So now we're going to get 5 wheat back in tiles instead of 4 wheat, which is really good. And also, they spawn from trees, so we need to place a couple more trees, actually. I'm just going to use all the trees there. We can also, let's take this one house that we have, and I'm going to say, we're going to place it there, and then we're going to make love. Boom, ow.
Hi, mommy.
Yay! And we have another person. Now, because we have another person, we're going to need some more food, so now our requirements are going from 2 to 3, but we have that very much covered. So, next year... Now, also, as the year progresses, things tick over, yada yada, boars grow. So, a small boar like this that's next to the house now, yeah, you can shoot it, but you're only going to get 1 food from it. The bigger boar right there, you're going to get 2 food from that. Or at least, I think 2 food. I could be wrong. And then a third size larger, you're going to get more meat from that. So, sometimes you want to wait for the boars to grow up a little bit bigger, but they tend to wander and also destroy your crops. So if I place this here and I place this here, chances are this boar that's right next to the crops is going to go over and just ruin those crops. So that's not good. That's not something you want. But it's kind of all we can do. Let's shoot this little boar, even though it's going to gain us some yield. We don't have much way in the yield of food at the moment and whatnot. End of year 4. Yada yada, yay. Yep, nope, there he goes. Destroys that. We only get the yield of that and all the food, yada yada. Alright, yay, and more stuff is around. Therefore, what is that? 2 food. Yay. Okay, so I think I need a house more in this area now. I'm going to kill you. Gain our 3 food, so it doesn't matter where we place that. This, I'm going to place this house here. We're going to make love. Fill out the house. Kill this guy there. 4 food. Lovely. Now, bears don't move diagonally, so putting these 2 things here is actually really, really good. And we're not going to shoot these guys because we actually need more meat. Since we've actually spread out the houses, I'm going to put some trees over here, because that actually seems really good for a later play. Because you also have to be thinking down the line, oh, I'm going to have a lot of mouths to feed. And things tend to scale. Well, these 2 bears, or boars, 3 and 3, good stuff. We've got our food there. We're going to do that. Now, I've been placing wheat next to the water because tiles next to the water tend to regain their je ne sais quoi, because I didn't want to say fervor again, faster. I can place this wheat right here, right here, right here. I'm going to get a surplus of wheat, but the area around that is going to regrow their numbers a little bit slower, so to say. Also, keep in mind that big trees get you more housing. So if we do that, I'm going to place this house there. We're going to gain another person. Yay! More people. And we can outskirt some trees there. Yeah. Okay. So we're doing pretty well, actually, for ourselves in this world. And excuse me. Now the goal of the game, there really isn't a goal. The goal is more of a score. The higher the score, the higher the score. That's it. But how far do you want to push that score? Because score, like I said, is based on population, crop yield, other things that you don't need to worry about right at this moment if you're not playing the story mode or quest mode specifically. I'm doing free play because that's the easier version of this game. Nothing to worry about, don't worry. But yeah, no, it's all a balancing act of an ecosystem. Do you kill all the boars right away to gain all that food, gain all the food later and wait and harvest and all that stuff? We're actually really good right now, but we could be better. We can always be better. We can even, with houses, stack them.
Hi, Mommy.
So now, 6 people. You can stack them again, too, to have 3 people living in one house. That is crowded AF. But right now, we're actually okay. I'm going to actually plant this one wheat right there so we can get a little bit more wheat. Surplus is good, but everything else is better. So right now, we've got a pretty nice spread. We're going to kill that one, that one, that one. Because we can, because we're monsters. We'll plant some grain, get ourselves some more of that. I'm actually going to build a house right there. We need a nice spread of houses. You can't cluster. I've learned that now. You can't really cluster housing. You gotta spread that out. But also build on top of each other. So yeah, this is anyway. That's basically the game. Actually, this is Habitat. If you like the idea of it and you want to play, go play it. The link is always, as always, in the description below. My name is Ben Dark Arts, and hopefully you can run a pretty okay ecosystem on this tiny, tiny world of ours and not have anything go wrong whatsoever at all. Oh dear. This is so fragile of an ecosystem. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's not fine. We're all gonna burn to death. Oh god!